Tommy, it's 11:11 as we sit down to record this one today.
11:11 for episode 10.
Oh, bugger.
I cannot believe it's episode 10. I can't, so what was it, like a couple of months ago? We were like, we should actually do that podcasting.
We should probably do that podcast thing, seeing as we spend so much time shit talking privately. Surely other people would want to listen to this. And they do. We've had such truly lovely, wonderful feedback from so many people who are saying essentially that we really help them to feel a bit less alone, especially going through tough times, which is truly what we wanted to set out to do with this. So thanks so much for all the great feedback and comments, and we appreciate it. Obviously, you can listen on Patreon. We'd love it if you could contribute. If you can't, if you sign up for free, you're just going to get notified as to when we drop new episodes. And the same with the old click, like, subscribe on YouTube as well. How's your week been?
I mean, I'm exhausted, but I had my first day off in about a month yesterday, which was lovely. I went to go and read in the park, and then it started raining. But I had a good hour reading in the park. I'm reading this incredible book that Jessamy has lent me, and it is the diary of a trans man in the 70s, a gay trans man. And his name's Lou Sullivan. It's called The Diaries of Lou Sullivan. And this is something that was like a real sort of moment for Jessamy, like sort of early on.
Yeah.
And it is just absolutely incredible. And I mean, it's just filled with notes from Jessamy about how much he relates and stuff like that. So almost just like reading it through his eyes has been so wonderful. So yeah, that was my day yesterday.
Can I just say how impressed I am that you can actually still read? Because reading is something for me that I have always loved. I'm surrounded by books, and I think because of, I used the words attention economy last week, which I just love, because of the warfare happening out in the old attention economy right now, I find actually sitting and reading and being able to concentrate enough to kind of get down the page really, really challenging now.
So do I. It's something I have to really push myself to do. One thing that's been really good is obviously I'm on my Druid journey, and that is they send you these little booklets every month that you read, and there's sort of exercises and stuff like that in there, and that's pushed me a little bit. There's been things that I felt I'd needed to read. Like I told you, I read Persepolis, and that was something I was feeling like a thicky dum-dum because I didn't really understand what was going on in Iran. And I sort of read that as like a starting point just to understand a little bit more of the history. So I feel like a lot of it has been necessity more than anything else. But the more time I spend with my head in a book and rather than doom scrolling, the better really at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'd say that introduces what we have decided in the last 10 minutes to talk about this episode. Because we had quite an extensive phone call yesterday where we talked about the episode we wanted to record. And then both of us, when we kind of came to it today, were like, do you know what? No. And we were and are for a minute, because we have to acknowledge it, going to talk about obviously the horrific news that we had this week about 62 million hits on a website that revolves around sexual assault. Trigger warning right at the top, right? Everyone is re-traumatized enough as it is, right? So if you just don't want to hear it, I'm actually going to put a time code in so you can skip right ahead and not have to hear about this anymore if that's where you're at right now.
Hey gang, Kev here. That timestamp is at 16 minutes 50 seconds.
But I know for me personally, that was not a good day. And the righteous rage, the absolutely livid of it all, it can be something that's really tough to deal with. So rather than center these vile bastards any more than necessary, we've actually decided to talk this morning a little bit more about self-care strategies and the things that we do to try to relax, ground, clear, breathe. It's not to minimize, it's not to excuse, it's not to, turn the other cheek. It's to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, listen, as a man, not a straight man, but as a man, I feel like it's most important to sort of center where you are in that. Because I absolutely would have come on and had a conversation with you about it. I'm fucking livid as well. But, you are the person in this conversation that is the most impacted by this. So I'm more than happy to take your lead on that, Hannah.
Oh, darling, thank you. Yeah, it's difficult. It's, I've been able to talk to Kev a lot about it. And if you are in a relationship with a man who doesn't allow you space and conversation, or is not trying to empathize or listen right now, that's something you need to look at, because it's something you deserve. It's something that you are worthy of. I think for me, it's the absolute lack of surprise, actually. I don't think women are surprised. We're horrified, we're disgusted, but we have to remember that we're living in a world where Donald Trump was elected president of the United States the first time, having been recorded saying, you can do what you want. You can grab them by the pussy if you want to, right? That should have been enough, and it wasn't. And look at where we fucking are now. Like...
Yeah, I mean, just, the past few months with sort of the Epstein files and now this. And I think there is a culture, certainly, in, toxic sort of masculine spaces where there's this idea that, it's only a few very bad men. It's not something that is sort of systemic. And then you get numbers like that, 62 million. And it's like, no, it's right there. It is right fucking there. And we are talking about, men that are drugging their wives and sexually assaulting them on camera and posting that to the internet and explaining to other men how they would be able to do the same.
Thank you for saying it. Like, I can't even begin to come to terms with the fact that is obviously just further evidence of the fact that the one place that women should be able to feel the most safe is the place that we are the least safe. In the United Kingdom, you are still most likely, as a woman or femme-presenting person, to be murdered in your own home and by your spouse, your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend. Like, it's absolutely not okay, and I think it's something that men should be talking about all the fucking time. And Giselle Palico, one of those cases again where after the initial shock, the realization that you're not in fact surprised, but that this is, and it's been the same with the news this week, that this actually just feels more reaffirming of what you feel like in your lived experience, the same way that, so many of us self-soothe watching true crime. There's something in the psychology of that for women especially, of it is as horrendous. It is as likely to happen. There is a reason why I walk home with my keys, between my fingers, So, but Giselle Palico was the one that said we have to change the narrative around shame. It is not our shame anymore. It's men's shame. The shame is with the patriarchy. The shame is with boys will be boys. The shame is with just locker room talk. And to say I've had it is an understatement. I think that every woman should carry a fucking machete. I think it's time that we formed vigilante packs and hunted them down mercilessly and mutilated them in the town square. Like, I'm absolutely fucking livid, but I'm absolutely through apologizing for that. I'm not apologizing for the fact that I'm fully ready to castrate a motherfucker now.
Public castration.
Yeah.
As a gay man with the privilege of not having to face this firsthand, I have always pretty much exclusively been surrounded by women, like with a few exceptions. And I have seen it time and time again. And most of the time, the only reason that it hasn't gotten worse is because I, as a tall man, am there.
Yeah.
And that just makes me so angry. So angry. And just hearing from my female presenting friends about just not feeling safe walking home at night, you know, the walking home clutching the keys. It's just absolutely horrendous. And I think there are so many men that are either in denial or just not willing to look at just how bad it really is.
Yeah, I don't have any excuse for that for them anymore. I don't, because again, here we're talking about the idea of kind of stranger danger and the person lurking down the alley. And I think, you know, we were both born in the 80s. When you think about rapists and pedophiles, they're, you know, hanging around in a grungy anorak in a fucking alleyway somewhere, and you have to be aware and you have to be alert. These are the men in our lives, in our workplaces. They are in our families. They are in our homes, and reckoning with that, the way that women have been for too long now. It's just gotten to a point where it's enough, to the point that being online this week, I actually had guys that I am still in contact with, or being like, well, don't be sexist. Don't respond to this with sexism, because then you're just as bad. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. This idea of sort of like reverse sexism, as if they're in any way sort of oppressed. This is what the sort of Andrew Tates and people like that have done.
Exactly.
You know, it's this, we are this, you know, you can't say anything anymore. We are this sort of repressed minority now that women are, and it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
The male loneliness epidemic. I'm playing the world's tiniest fucking violin. If you cannot connect the dots between your behavior, the jokes you make, the shit you let fly, the way that you go, oh, isn't it terrible another woman has been fucking killed? Oh, well, moving on. You know, tiniest fucking violin at this point. If they can't realize that there is an obvious connection as to why it is women are deciding that they'd rather preserve their own life than risk being in a fucking relationship with you. In Derry, in the north of Ireland, at the beginning of this year, there were 2 women murdered within the space of a week in domestic violence situations. It literally, at a cellular level, I've started vibrating now. That's why we didn't want to have this conversation, because it will fuck up your day, your week, your year, your life if you let it. Do not let them do that to you, right? Do not let them push you to a place of despair that you believe there is no coming back from. I absolutely know what it's like, but to have people protesting and on the street trying to raise awareness of femicide being an epidemic within the United Kingdom. It's one of the north of Ireland is one of the worst places in the whole of Europe for femicide. To have people trying to draw attention to that because a young woman lost her life, and within days another woman be found murdered, it is just abhorrent to me. That isn't that should be the main news story every single day until it stops. It should be the only thing that government cares about. It should be the only thing that men are talking about in the pubs or at fucking football matches or whatever the fuck else it is that straight men do. I don't know. You know, but it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And if they think that we're withdrawing and building more solidarity now, like I said, just wait until we start wearing people's testicles as fucking earrings.
Yes. I mean, listen, on the way here, in preparation for what I thought was going to be a sort of long form episode on this, I was watching the interview with Zoe Watts. Don't want to re-traumatize anyone, to be honest. So I would just say, if you've not watched it and you have the capacity to watch something extremely harrowing about her experience with her husband and a man that, I'm not going to say it, but it was just absolutely heartbreaking. I was crying in the cab on the way here, to be honest. Like, just unbelievable what this woman has gone through, and just coming to terms with that, you know, after being married to this man and being abused for 10 years, you know, without her knowledge. It's just...
Yeah. And like I said, you know, when we had the Giselle Pellico story and the way that it broke and the shock around it, and now we're understanding 62 million. going to over 80 million hits actually in March. You know, women took a real double body blow with that, right? You know, it was like, oh my God, this big CNN story, and did you know it's 62 million? And then people were like, that was February. It was another 20 million in March, right? It's just, and that, those numbers, it's like when people were doing the comparison of how many hits the Sony website gets, Domino's, all of them, and you'd have to combine them to get anywhere close to the hits that there's, to put those numbers in context, because I think that's one thing that's really hard for us to grasp, is the sheer number that is 62 million. It's unfathomable. It's and so yeah, people feel afraid and they feel angry and they feel lost, despondent.
And that's 62 million people that didn't just, you know, stumble across it and think, oh my God, this is horrendous, I've got to sound the alarm. This is 62 million people that either left or continue to consume that content.
Exactly. I want names, addresses, places of work, you know? So, but we decided that we didn't want to, for ourselves and for our listeners, have to talk about this. I've been sexually assaulted. #MeToo, and re-traumatizing is the right word. When news like this just takes you back to the darkest times in your life, it takes you back to the fear of not being believed. It takes you back to feeling disconnected and dissociated in your body, having a tough relationship with kind of the physical body. So I really do think it would be more beneficial for us both in terms of where we're at on our journeys. And hopefully for anyone listening, if we try and lift the mood a little bit, if we try to look at what it is that we can do in terms of taking care of ourselves right now. And so you and I are two people who historically, perhaps, have not been great at taking care of ourselves. I don't know about you, because self-care for me obviously used to be a vast amount of Jaeger bombs, maybe punching a wall in the toilet of the club, and then like screaming along to Peaches on the dance floor. And if that's where you're at and what you need right now, do it. Not judging.
It was stompy platform boots in Slimelight.
Right? There we go. A lot of what we might frame, you know, as kind of destructive behavior, and we absolutely have to look at that. I think that developing compassion around our self-soothing behaviors when we're dealing with news like this or shit like this is actually really important.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would say is, for me, I can't always get straight to the self-care. You know, it usually takes a while, and sometimes I really do just have to feel it. And unfortunately for me, I'm not really a person that will feel it in the way of like, I'll lying in a ball in the fetal position. I can't necessarily do that, but I will work myself to the fucking bone and feel it throughout all of that. You know, like so there's definitely a level of distraction.
Yeah. And I think the feeling it is the self-care though, right? Like when we talk about self-care, is it self-care because we want to numb it and we don't want to look at it or can't look at it, or is it the support that helps us to begin to move and to begin to process some of that energy, some of that emotion, some of that, you know? And that for me is like, I can say that obviously smashing Jaeger bombs and bathroom walls was self-care, but it meant that I wasn't actually feeling it. What I'm doing is suppressing it. I'm trying to run from it. And I know, and you know, I think now from bitter experience, that you run, and at some point you're going to get to a point where, whether you like it or not, it's time to feel some of this. It's time to move some of this. I've been in that process, I think, for the last 18 months, like 2 years. Moving into 40 and coming to terms with all the shit in my 20s that there was never a chance to look at because I was always just running so fucking fast. So even sitting and sewing and working and but with the presence of awareness, the ability to still be present in it, I think kind of is self-care.
I do tend to go down quite intense media rabbit holes as well. Like I'll look into independent journalists that might be speaking about that thing, and I'll listen to just like 20 different takes throughout the day, and I'll process, because I really need to have all the information all the time. You know, like I really need to know what's going on. So I will listen to 5 different people talk about the same thing so I can get all of it. And then I can begin to process and begin to understand how I feel about it. You know, as I've said before, after October 7th, I didn't really understand what was going on. And I needed a little while before I was able to really take it in and understand what was going on, you know?
I think that's a really good point, because obviously a lot of the time people will say, well, don't look at it. You know, Hannah, you're too sensitive and you get so upset. So what I need you to do is not look at it. Whereas I have anxiety. If I don't look, if I don't learn, if I don't know, I'm going to be living in my own kind of hell. I'm going to have imagined scenarios or scenes, or, you know, it's like good horror. Good horror doesn't actually show you very much, because it relies on the fact that the human mind can come up with its own forms of torment and torture. And so for me, I'm the same. I'm not remaining informed or looking at images of atrocities or 62 fucking million. God, because I'm trying to hurt myself. It's because I'm already hurt and I'm trying to make sense and I'm trying to understand. And I'm not trying to overwhelm or back myself into any kind of a content corner. I can completely relate to this idea of knowledge is power, and part of me feeling more empowered within this is being able to come with the fucking facts.
Yeah, I feel like I can't stand, and I have quite a lot of anxiety about this, the idea of somebody bringing something to me and being like, have you heard about this horrendous thing? And me doing that thing that people have so often done to me, where they just look at you as if to say, what are you talking about? And you're like, oh, that's just so fucking disappointing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, totally. When you're just like, wait, what? wait, what? Israel, where is that?
Yeah.
In terms of, the journey, that we've both been on, because self-care for both of us used to be stompy boots and going to the club, right? But amazingly enough, I guess there was a point, of course, where that stopped working for us both, and we had to try other stuff. And I think when it comes to the old self-care menu of Western wellness, I've tried everything. Float tanks, breath work. I've never done acupuncture, actually, but do you know what I mean? Like, what are the things that you have tried that maybe didn't work in the ways that you would have wanted them to?
Oh, in terms of self-care?
Yeah, is there anything that you were like, I'm going to be that person now? Because for me, obviously, yoga all the time. I'm like, I'm going to be a yoga person or a Pilates person, and I'm gonna get a consistent routine going, and I'll get a mat, the mat and the blocks, and it's not happening. It's not happening for me.
It is so funny that you say that, because I have exactly the same experience with yoga. And I've had so many friends that get so much out of it and really leave feeling so energized. I have a little bit of a theory about this, maybe a bit out there, but if we look at me and you, is it a tall people thing? Is it not fun for tall people?
Oh my God.
Because I just find it so uncomfortable. And when I think about the friends that the people I know that have been really into yoga, it's lots of like kind of quite small people.
Little people.
Yeah, is it that? I have no idea.
No, that's a really valid point, because if you think about it, like I'm 6'1". I'm big. There's a lot of bum and a lot of boobs and a lot of leg to contend with, and I always feel like a T-Rex in a chicken coop. Like, I always feel big and unwieldy, and like, and I'm probably just being really self-conscious, but yeah, also the neurodivergence of it all. I mean, come on, the idea of like, okay, and now you're just gonna do this and stay like that, and the other people being like, exhale, breath out. Now there's nothing but me in this moment. Whereas when I do that, I'm like, oh, maybe I should paint the hallway. I don't know. Do I need to pick anything up from the shop on the way home? You know, like I.
Also, I am gonna say it, and this might be unpopular, but I do find myself cringing quite a lot of the time when you're there with a bunch of sort of Prenzlauer Berg yummy mummies. The person that's hosting the class is a white woman that ends by saying namaste, and
Yeah.
it just all just feels a little bit. And for me, it's sort of been without exception. Like I can't remember ever going to a yoga class and it's been a person of color or somebody that maybe has a little bit of a closer link to those practices.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think it is, you know, I think people who practice yoga and are into yoga are absolutely aware of that, and hopefully looking at that. It's just not for me. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm going to be a yoga person now. But it's also the same with, I think it's this idea. And here comes the old patriarchal capitalism of it all, that it's supposed to look a certain way. And then you're supposed to feel a certain way. And I heard somebody once saying, like, it's stretching. It's going and having a stretch. And you lot have turned it into a fucking blood sport. And the industry that's built up around it, and the kit that you need, and the, you know, it's just that same pervasive capitalization, commercialization of something actually incredibly simple, that is probably part of the kind of turn off for us as well. But those kind of, when people say self-care, I think quite often for us in the West especially, we go, oh, yoga and herbal teas and sitting cross-legged in the lotus position, and we see self-care as being synonymous with stillness or wellness, but it's very white, and it is very designed to create quiet complicity, right? The whole idea of, if everything is okay in your world, love and light, namaste, then we don't have to be bothered by things like, you know, femicide, genocide, climate catastrophe. And I think part of the reason that maybe we've had the ick is because we are people who give a shit about stuff. And so the idea of, I'm going to shut it out, I'm going to blot it out because I need to center myself and my wellness as an individual, it doesn't fucking cut it.
No, completely. I mean, just, you know, in terms of talking about things that just haven't really worked for us, I always thought one of those would be running. I honestly, people that talk about running, my brain just switched off. You know, it's like, couldn't care less about that. That is absolutely not something that interests me in the slightest.
Yeah, lovely for you. Lovely for you. Never going to happen. However, half marathon man over there. How did it start with the running, with the getting into running?
Okay, so it actually happened around the time that Wes Streeting banned puberty blockers. I was so angry on a level that I felt like I'd never really felt before, because this is something that's so close to me and so close to my heart. And this man, who is a gay man, by the way, who was completely throwing trans people under the bus, ended up banning puberty blockers. And I was so angry that I felt this really strong need to move my body. And I just started going on these little runs. And I think it was like, I've been doing it for a couple of weeks, and then Hannah came to stay with me. And every day I was getting up and I was going for a run while Hannah was just like, you know, having a coffee.
I was convinced you were just going around the corner to Brambles having a couple of donuts. Maybe.
Yeah, Hannah just be like having coffee with Robbie while I was going for my run. And then one day I came back and I was like, I'm going to do a half marathon. And one of the things with it was, as I said, I will quite often consume a lot of media around a thing, and that will sort of help me to process. So I was finding I was listening to podcasts and sort of discussions with people around that topic as I was running. And I think there's a real sort of physical thing that happens where you're able to process as you move your body. And that was happening. And then I was like, I want to do something. I want to use this. How can I use this? And yeah, then Hannah and I were going to record at the first episode of our podcast, the first round when we were going to do it. We recorded it
over a year ago.
Yeah, we recorded it, and then we didn't end up doing anything with it until now. And Hannah held me to account in that episode.
And I was like, oh, you're gonna be running a half marathon to raise money for trans kids and their families, like you told me. And I remember you looking at me being like, yeah, I fucking guess I am now. Yeah.
Got it now, yeah.
But I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. It was so lovely. I mean, Hannah came over, and then my brother surprised me at the start line.
That was that.
He was-
I think about that all the time.
Oh my god! Hannah and I were queuing up, so I could use the Portaloo and like put some Vaseline in places and all that.
Yeah.
And then my brother appears out of nowhere with one of those like water backpacks, all like because my brother's really fit and he was all like kitted up, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" He was, "I'm running with you," and bless him, he was really worried that I was going to think that he was like stealing my thunder or something. And he was like, "Is it all right? Is it all right?" I was like, "I love it. This is the first time I'm doing it and you're going to do it with me."
Oh no, it was amazing. It was amazing. Obviously, my favourite part of the weekend in London, where you ran a marathon, half marathon, but it'll be a marathon one day, right, Tommy?
Maybe, we'll see.
I'm doing it again. Was absolutely obviously being there and supporting you, and I got to meet Patricia.
Yes.
Witch Mother, who does the astrology for the cult. We went and met, and I met Coco, their little dog, and good time was had by all. But I also did love when we all went for a massive succulent Chinese meal together.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Oh my god, I was absolutely ravenous because I'd never run anything near that. I'd done a lot of training. I really, really tried, but it's a lot. A half marathon is a lot, which is why, I'm quite often like, oh, I'll do a full marathon one day. But then the last time I did another one,
No big deal.
There's absolutely no fucking way. There's absolutely no fucking way I'm doing 2 of these in one go. It's outrageous.
Oh dear, I still can't believe it, only because of we've been friends for such a long time now, and we've been through so many different phases and experienced so much together. But on my bingo card, I never had Tommy gets into running and ends up running a half marathon in London. Is it something that you're still doing?
So at the moment, just because of the workload, it's really waned, but I've promised myself it's something that I'm going to really try to get back into. I mean, I'm still doing it. It's just not with the sort of frequency that I would like. But the thing is, I've never regretted going for a run. It's one of those things. It's really hard to get to the point where you're leaving the house and you're putting Strava on and all that. But
what's Strava?
Oh, Strava, it's like the Instagram of running. So it
okay,
your
never
run.
mind.
Yeah. No, see, exactly. You're doing that thing that I used to do where it's like, oh, bloody hell, that's so boring. I couldn't care less about that.
I was actually just thinking as well, because I think it's absolutely something that's worth mentioning. It's something that I'm trying to get better at in the whole acknowledging my privilege of it all, is I really feel for people who obviously they don't have the capacity. They don't have the physical capacity. To be able to run, and because if you think about self-care and the way it's kind of told to us, hey, this would be good, buy this, a lot of the time it's this whole idea of movement and moving your body, and you need to get outside, and you imagine how fucking frustrating it must be to be someone who's absolutely furious, sitting in that emotionality and in that energy, and not having the physical ability to punch the wall in the fucking bathroom or go for a run. And I just think, we have to have a conversation, I think, around self-care and accessibility. Because you and I we love little treats, right? We love little treats. I bought you a voucher to go to Vibali this week because I know when you go to Vibali and use the sauna and kind of disappear into that world for a little while, that is self-care that absolutely works for you. But we're very fortunate to be in a position where we can afford to do shit like that at the moment as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, one of the many perks of having Cult Mother as your bestie is every now and then you'll mention that you're having a bit of a difficult time, and a voucher for your favourite spa will just appear in your inbox.
I'm a Leo. It's my love language. I can't help it. It's who I am.
That absolutely made my day the other day. I mean, we'd had a long chat, and I was sort of at my wit's end and was like, "This is just completely unmanageable. I've taken on too much. Who'd have thought it?" And then that appeared in my inbox, which is just so wonderful.
But it's because it's the empathy thing. It's the doing things for people that I would love for people to do for me, right? That's the in the fact that I've got the spa down here where you can use the sauna, the steam room. I loved being able to get submerged in water as a release for me, right? Whether it's my Leo stellium and all that solar sun fiery energy just needs tempering sometimes. It's ever since I was a little kid, I've always been drawn towards bodies of water, putting my hands in the water or just. My mum was like, you always had to just watch you because you were, whether it's a fish pond or whatever, you were always trying to fucking climb in. So it's something that I enjoy as well. But yeah, my heart just really goes out, and I'm keen to cultivate more awareness of people who are like, well, good for you that you can spend 40 fucking euros to go sit in the steam for 90 minutes. That must be nice, but that's actually my entire food budget this week. Or, you know, what are people doing in the midst of all of this who have got so many more struggles and challenges, and I think there's a real lesson for all of us in there in terms of what self-care really means and the simplicity that I think has to be inherent within it for it to actually hit, if that makes sense.
As I say, for me yesterday it was just going and reading a book in the park. I just needed to be surrounded by oak trees. And it was so nice because I knew it was about to rain, so there was no one there. And quite often that park is just full of kids, and people barbecuing and all sorts of stuff like that. But it was just completely empty, and it was really, really, really wonderful. So there definitely are things that don't cost the world, but yeah, I can completely relate. It must be absolutely awful.
Yeah, because I always say kind of, you know, when I'm working with tarot cards that are synonymous with kind of self-care, the Empress, High Priestess, I guess, you know, we tend to look at the feminine archetype as being synonymous with that nurturing, nourishing. I think we need to remember the rage that is synonymous in that archetype as well. But when I talk about those cards, I often say kind of not bullshit bath bomb self-care. And I love a bath and I love a bath bomb, but what I mean by that is the fix. It's not care, it's a quick fix. I feel like shit, and I feel like if I'm able to do something, it's a band-aid, right? It's a moment that is helping us suppress it maybe a little further or a little longer so we can still continue doing what we need to do. And that's what I mean about this pervasive kind of capitalist commercialization of self-care, especially in Western wellness. The idea of if you buy this bath bomb with the essential oils and it's going to fix you. If you buy this course or this book or this wisdom from someone else, it's going to fix you. And I think for me, the biggest thing in terms of understanding self-care now starts with this whole idea of that this is not about fixing you because you are fucked up or broken or because there's anything wrong with you. It's because you are human. Being human is hard, and this is the stuff that makes it feel a little less shitty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which is, you know, people talk about journaling, prayer, meditation, and you get like a real eye roll. But if you think about it, these things are things that prayer and meditation are accessible to everyone in some form, regardless of your capacity, regardless of where you are, what your faith is. You know, it's that whole idea of trying to bring it back to basics and make it meaningful for you without having to just fucking buy stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people grifting on, you know, people's discomfort, people's sadness, people's depression. But, you know, I have been on such a journey with the sort of meditation and prayer side of things. You know, that was something that took me years and years to get to a place where I always see it as there's a place within me where I can go, and that place is mine and nobody else can enter that place. And it's taken me such a long time to cultivate that. I've tried so many different modalities to get to a place where I am able to come within and spend that time in that space. You know, in Druidry, we talk about this idea of the sacred grove. It's this sort of grove that you have in your mind. And yeah, that wasn't always a place where I could go. And it is one of the last things that I will reach for. And it's usually when things are already kind of coming to a conclusion. So I might have spent quite a long time spiraling and listening to lots of media and getting to the worst case scenario, and then I'm ready, like the portal is open and I'm ready to go back within and nurture myself because I've already done all of that.
Yeah, and it's not retreating, it's retreating so we can recharge in order to continue to face it, right? It's that difference between dissociating and being in the Delulu, which is fine at times, right? It's delicious there if you need that. I'm not, no judgment, but more that idea of, you know, self-care absolutely can and should be synonymous with a kind of surrender, but it's not because we're done. It's not because we're finished. It's not because we're giving up the fight. It's that we know in order for it to be sustainable, to be in it for the long haul, to continue to care, we absolutely have to give ourselves that time, and time as a component of self-care, I think, is important.
This is one of the things I think that a lot of sort of, Western wellness spirituality practices would have you cut that first bit out and just go directly to the inner work. Like, so very sort of hyper individualistic, not connecting to those bigger world problems. You know, as I was saying before, the idea of spirituality is this connectedness, you know, like it is that idea of we're like sort of one organism as a humanity, and when one part is damaged, you're sending resources to the other. And I just think any kind of spirituality just makes you focus endlessly on yourself is really moving away from that idea.
100%, and that's the way that we have been talking about mutual aid in the cult, and there was a GoFundMe that we wanted to get funded by the end of the month, and we did it in a day, and like, and the understanding
Fucking
of
fabulous.
right, but the understanding that mutual aid is not charity. Mutual aid also comes from that understanding that we are a network, we are all connected, and that if one of us is hurting, we're all hurting. So we have a responsibility to one another to take care of each other. And if that is not the most spiritual shit, especially in the fact that I have not felt lit up, motivated in any way, shape or form to go on Instagram or make content, but the minute that I was like, okay, well, but this makes sense to me. This is something that can get me back on the gram after not posting anything for a week. And the ripple effect in terms of feel good, of everyone who was able to contribute, was able to share, that was desperately refreshing the browser every 5 minutes in our Discord and sending gifts and kind of keeping everyone motivated. And like, it was a moment where we felt connected and we felt alive and we felt a part of, and as if somehow our time, effort and energy, whatever we could give in that moment, was contributing to something bigger than us. And that's it. That's the crux of it. But you're so right in terms of love and light, spiritual bypassing fucking no outside issues bullshit.
Yeah, I can't. If I get the slightest whiff of that, I'm out. I mean, and there are so many people, I think, in the spiritual space that I would have really rated in the past, and just watching them just not being able to say anything in the midst of all of this is just fucking outrageous.
It's working though. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but recently I've gotten very, very good at thinking about where I'm spending money and putting money, to the point that I thought about buying something from someone the other day, but when I was at the cart, I was on the website, on the cart, and then I went, hang on a cotton picking minute. And I went back to the gram and I went back to their grid. And I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled again. And in that time, I saw absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Speaking to anything that's happening in the world right now. Nothing shared in solidarity with Palestine. Nothing. And I was like, okay, I get it. We're maintaining an aesthetic here. We're running a brand. Bullshit. Not in the year of Our Lady Catherine O'Hara 2026, right? Because I then went in their stories, and you can't even reshare right now to your, and do you know what? Off your website, out of your cart, did not click, could not purchase. And it is that straightforward to me now. It's like people I collaborate with that ask me to go on their podcast or to do this or do that. If I'm going on your website and it's all white on the night,
Oh my God, do you know what? I was looking at some other brands recently, like other sort of, I'm not saying any names, but other sort of designers, independent designers, and going through their page and being like, oh my God, there's literally not one person of colour on here. Like, I just absolutely could not believe it. In 2026, you are running a whole business and every single model is white. Unbelievable.
With that lack of representation is kind of fucking
Yes.
crazy. So we've both decided that obviously soaking our heads or going to the steam or, you know, a little bit of spa action is good. For me, I think that's because it puts me in my body.
Yeah.
Because the thing I probably struggle with most in terms of what self-care needs to or can look like for me is the idea of I quite often just feel like a head floating around in the world. And it's like in my work with Taro, we focus obviously on emotional, mental, spiritual health. And then I think the actual physical, eat a vegetable, sleep more than 4 hours of it all is
Speak to a
sort
friend.
of,
I think that's such a big one, isn't it?
yeah.
You know, like, am I, you know, the HALT system, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And it's usually is one of the four. Like, they should also add like genocide,
Yeah.
all those as well. But, you know, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, like that's usually at least contributing to it. It's going to be one of those.
I love that though. Like, are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? Yes, Susan. Yes.
Yeah, all of the above. Yeah.
But that whole idea of, you know, back in the body is also the same idea as be here now, and that's where the whole prayer and meditation again kind of links in. It doesn't matter who or what you fucking pray to. It's just that idea of pausing in the present moment and thinking outside of where we are at, what we are looking at, what it is that we're furious with, and it's the practice mechanism of asking for help as well. Prayer, you know, a lot of people, religious people, might tell you if you're praying for anyone other than, you know, if you're praying for yourself and not for other people, then you're not praying correctly. No one can tell you how to pray correctly. How you pray and what you pray to is completely personal to you. But for me, the idea of prayer as someone who doesn't believe in God, right? I don't believe in a dogmatic sky daddy who is deciding how good I have been in the day that I'm in. Get fucked, right? But that idea of praying to the earth, to the universe, to the great mother, to the goddesses, to the ancestors, to Mr. fucking Blobby, right? It really doesn't matter. That's a very niche reference, Mr. Blobby, I've just realised. UK listeners will get it. Americans, if you Google it, you'll be traumatized forever.
My best friend growing up was obsessed with Mr. Blobby. You know, I've mentioned before Joe, who was the goth girl at school that I became friends with. She had all these childhood pictures of her just surrounded by Mr. Blobby.
Okay,
Like
maybe
toys,
this is one hell of a tangent, but I think it is worth mentioning that there used to be a Saturday night TV show in the UK. It was like the biggest show on TV. It was presented by a guy called Noel Edmonds. And they decided that as this program was so vastly popular, they needed another vehicle, another
like a mascot.
Or so they created like a 7-foot pink vinyl man. I mean, Mr. Blobby, who had a grotesque vinyl face, eyes, and a huge mouth with big rubbery lips. And he was just Mr. Blobby, and he didn't talk. He just went blobby, 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 blobby. I mean, it's horror. It's horrendous.
But it was it was absolutely massive, wasn't it? Like, people loved it.
But that was the thing, Mr. Blobby, this is just testament to the wellness of British people in general, I think. You know, talking about self-care, I mean, have a word. Mr. Blobby became bigger than Noel Edmonds, bigger than this Saturday night TV show. I mean, this was Teletubbies level of significant. Why do we love weird vinyl figures that don't speak?
Yeah, the Teletubbies as well is bloody weird.
There's a question for you, audience, on today's tangent. Mr. Blobby, I'm going to do an essay, Mr. Blobby, where it all went wrong.
I mean, you could also talk about sort of Teletubbies. One of them was sort of non-binary, weren't they? Like with the handbag.
Were they? I think the person that was the baby in the Teletubbies, the son, because for some reason the son was a giggling baby. These people were on drugs. I mean, kids TV from when we were growing up and we were teenagers. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was a lot.
But I think the baby's NDA has just expired now that they're like 30, so they've got their own Instagram where they do tales from Teletubbies and they spill all the goss and the behind the scenes and the drama.
What, that Poe and Tinky Winky were shagging each other?
Well, probably, right? Self-care, remember, it takes all shapes and forms. So if you need to go and re-traumatize yourself further by watching Mr. Blobby.
How on earth did we get onto Mr. Blobby and the Teletubbies, by the way?
I don't know, because it's been that kind of fucking week, babe. It's been the kind of week where two people sit down to try and record a podcast, but the world is so objectively awful that we don't want to just upset everyone or make them feel worse. So we try and make them feel better, but really we're grasping at straws because we've both felt like shit for fucking months now.
Yeah.
What else can we say about self-care? Self-care.
I got really into breath work for quite a long time. Obviously, there's Elle Bauer-Johnson in The Cult, who is just absolutely wonderful. But I'd just say, like, to the start of that journey, my journey, as somebody that is in recovery and couldn't sort of safely access certain spaces, basically breath work makes you feel high. You know, you do these breathing exercises with your eyes closed, listening to music, and you get to this sort of very safe meditative high, which is absolutely incredible, because as somebody that got sober, I felt like I could no longer access those spaces. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing because you were just like, what did you just say? It was like a safe, meditative high. I did a breathwork session with you and completely lost my fucking mind and thought I was resurfacing repressed memories. And like, when you say breathwork gets you high, it gets you high, I think, in a way that you kind of have to be prepared for if it's something you haven't practiced before.
Right.
Right, because you can do relaxing, like Elle Bauer-Johnson does breath work and rest. The idea is to be present, it's to soften into the moment, it's a member benefit, go join the cult, right? Because it's something that helped me. I want other people to have access to it. Elle is amazing, but there's trippy lose your shit breath work as well, which is because I remember when we were both still living in Berlin, you were like, breath work, and I was like, yes, and you were like, let's go in this session, and I did it, and afterwards I was kind of like, yeah, disturbed.
Yeah, I really threw you in at the deep end with the Michael Stone, which is like he runs these sort of breathwork things online, and it'll be a huge group of people just on Zoom, and it's sort of paired. It's like a very intense breath that you have to do throughout the whole thing, and it's paired with some quite sort of like cinematic music that really does bring it out of you.
I thought I'd time traveled. I thought I died. I was low key kind of dribbling when I came out of it, and I think we phoned each other after. You were like, "Wasn't that amazing?" And I was going, "I don't know, dude. I think maybe. I mean, I'm not going to share what it was I was thinking about at the time, but it got weird. It got really wild there for a little bit, which put me off for a hot minute. But breathwork, absolutely. Even breathwork as straightforward as remembering to fucking breathe. Right? Because again, we think breathwork of I have to go to this place and I'm going to have to carve out this time and I'm going to have to. Breathwork is remembering that breath helps us to regulate, and if we get on the tube, or if we find ourselves feeling anxious out in public, or if we remember the breath. Right? Breath work for me is breath work when I have to go to big Tesco and I get overstimulated.
Yeah.
And breath work as self-care in that moment is remembering just to fucking breathe.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And everyone, with self-care in 2026, the best we've got for you is do remember to breathe.
For me, Elle's breathwork is so sort of unique because it really is just a moment to give yourself permission to rest and recharge in a group setting. And it's sort of as much or as little as you can do. Like I've been to some of Elle's sessions and I've been like, do you know what? I don't necessarily feel like doing the breath exercise. And Elle has said, you can just breathe as normal, or you can do this and I'll just guide you. And I've just been able to just lie there with a crystal on my head, as I usually do. And and just be in a sort of container with other people that are just trying to rest with somebody that feels so qualified in helping you through that. It's absolutely wonderful.
That's such a good point. That not feeling told what to do. Because absolutely, especially if I'm in the place where I know I need a little self-care, if I'm going somewhere and you're trying to militantly get me to do something, there's no faster way to guarantee that I absolutely won't. So that idea of it's optional and
it's very make it your own. It's like, and I think there's lots of times when they're like, what would feel the most comfortable right now? Do you need an extra pillow? Could you get yourself a drink? Like, it's very make it your own. And I think it helps you to build on your own practice and the things that you do by yourself. Because I started doing this very intense breath work, and then I started just learning to do it myself. And I would bring in like all my weirdo experimental industrial music and do it with that. And then I was really going on a journey, you know?
Yeah. I think make it your own is absolutely maybe the top tip that we have.
Yeah.
For self-care, right? The whole don't look at what people are doing on Instagram. For God's sake, don't let someone sell you something. and obviously tarot for me.
Yeah, of course.
And pull in tarot cards because that whole idea of meditation was so lost on me at the point that I came to tarot that I found having a deck of cards and being able to shuffle, even shuffling as a way of grounding or getting present or just like connecting with something outside of the chaos in my head. And the idea of then pulling a card and just looking at that card and using it to ask questions and check in with what was kind of moving or stirring with me, you know, finding those kind of tools, anchors, kind of access points. Tarot, of course, is the one that has probably helped me the most.
Well, I think also tarot is one of those things that it's like a really good jumping off point for journaling, if that's something you practice. Like, you know, to just, because I think tarot is so much about like seeing the energy around something and exploring that. And I think it's a really good place to start for journaling and writing about it and exploring it further.
Are you getting nervous because you couldn't see me shuffling my cards?
A little bit, yeah.
Because I thought, because you were so lovely last week saying that I've helped in times of indecision, especially by giving you a tarot reading, I thought it would be nice for us to wrap it up today by giving you a little mini reading. I'm just going to pull a few cards for you because I realised when you were saying that we haven't done this in fucking
we haven't done it in quite
ages.
A while. Yeah.
Because the last time I would have seen you to hang out with you in person was our wedding.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah.
Was it? Was that the last time I saw you?
Do you know what? I think that... Was it?
It must have been. Yeah. It must have been, because that was August last year.
It's just, I forget because we talk all the time.
No,
so
I know.
I forget that...
I know. We're really lucky, and obviously now we do this as well. In fact, I think we should do a whole episode where we just tell everybody about my wedding weekend and how much fucking fun it was.
Oh my God, that's such a good idea. Yes.
Because it was iconic.
Absolutely iconic.
It was iconic in the things that went wrong and didn't work out either. So it's definitely a story for another time.
Thinking, I think the last time you read my cards was that lovely day when it was before I'd run the half marathon. It was me, you, and Aurelie and
yes,
Alice.
Yes,
and we were in that park, and we were all having a lovely chat, and somebody was playing like UK Garage out of their flat. And we were just, you were reading cards for each other. You read for me. It was such a lovely day.
Yeah, we were in London. It was the first time that you and I met our friend Aurelie.
Yes.
Soulful Queen Taro. Another mention for you there, babes. I'm not doing one-to-one work at the moment, but Aurelie is, right? So, and it was my favorite way of reading tarot. Just some friends sat on the grass. In the sun, pulling some cards. But go on then. Let's wrap this episode up today with some self-care in the form of two people just being willing to connect with each other and be open and honest about where they're at and what's happening. Is there a query curiosity, a question that you want to share, Tommy?
Oh, do you know what? There's just so much flying around at the moment. I wouldn't even know where to start. I think
Well-
it's just where. Go on.
Then I might have the perfect little spread for you here, because
Yeah.
recently I've been using a spread that I created a lot, because I feel like it's just a good fit for a lot of where we're at and what we're all having to move through at the moment. And it means that you don't necessarily need a query or a question, because I think sometimes we stress ourselves out with tarot, with again feeling like we have to get it completely right at the top with the right question or the, you know, so again, let's remove that perfectionism from this practice. The placements that I'm going to use are, what is it helpful for you to reflect on right now? How can you best grow in your understanding and your effectiveness in this moment? We're going to pull what to watch out for or move with awareness of. And we're also going to pull outcome, a little bit of where are we headed then in connection or relationship to those placements. Does that sound good?
That's perfect, because as I say, I just so much going on. I wouldn't be able to narrow it down.
Yeah, good. Okay, let's have a look. I'm well shuffled. Let's see if this works over radio on a podcast. Thanks for listening, listener. There's that click. There's that cult mother click coming through. Right. Okay, first up, what is it helpful to reflect on? Tommy, I've pulled the Nine of Swords. And so for those of you not maybe familiar with tarot, the Nine of Swords shows us a figure in bed, holding their head in their hands with this clatter of swords in the black background. It is a card that's synonymous with overwhelm, heightened anxiety, feeling a little disconnected. It's the stuff that's keeping us up at night, basically.
I think that figure is me literally waking up this morning and realising that we were going to do an episode about sexual violence. I think that's very much what that is.
Yeah, I did that as well, where I woke up this morning and I was like, we have to talk about this. This is swords energy. This is where we want clear communication and speaking truth to power. But I'm honestly just so overwhelmed and dealing with my own despair to the point that I really, really wanted us to try and make something positive out of this episode. So I can kind of relate to this, what to reflect on. But I think what to reflect on as well when we get a lot of swords going on is a little bit of what we've been talking about. How do we get out ahead and being in the planning and the doing and the it's this and it's that, and come back to heart, come back to where things are a little bit more expansive, where there's a little bit more intuition, a little bit more imagination. Otherwise, it does get a lot for us to try and deal with in the energy of this nine.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I know. Yeah, next.
I know, I've been living in it for the past few months, yeah.
Yeah, same, babes. I'm going to draw a Nine of Swords for you, and there's a vodka watermelon down the side of the bed. No, we're not going there. So Tommy and I always joked that if we relapsed, we'd relapse together, and we'd do a bag of MDMA and make a voddy watermelon and take a load of inflatables to the beach in the sun.
Hannah drew me all these pictures around that time of us like in a big inflatable flamingo with a vodka watermelon. It was absolutely hilarious.
I'm gonna have to try and find it now, aren't I? Because if I can find it, I'll publish it in our Patreon. The drawing that I did.
I just worked this out while we were on the call, that it's 2 weeks until I'm 9 years sober. I was about to say 9 months. 9 years sober in 2 months.
And I've got the Nine of Swords as the what to reflect on, right? Maybe this is a little bit of where we were then compared to where we are now. The things that were worrying us and that we were trying to make sense of compared to the what we're worrying about and trying to make sense of now, and an opportunity for you to acknowledge how fucking amazing it is for you to have the problems that you do today.
Bless you.
Right? Holy shit.
I think sobriety for me, as well as obviously, abstaining from drugs and alcohol, was a time where I started to focus on what was going on with other people rather than just myself. Because when I was in active addiction, I was just completely obsessed with what was going on in Tommy world. And I think now that's completely moved away to a hyper focus on what is going on outside of my world.
Yes, which is a really great way of kind of looking at where we're at in the old head in the hands of the Nine of Swords as well. And maybe it's time we took the self out of self-care. Right? Like this whole idea as well of like, why is it on me to make me feel better? Why can't someone come round and make me a meal or do the hoovering for me? Or, it's a big conversation, and I'd encourage everyone listening to kind of have a little think about what it is you feel you need, and whether or not you need to be piling a whole heap of pressure on yourself to provide that, and provide that for you alone, because I think that's a big part of the bigger kind of problem we have in terms of community and society at the moment.
I have to say as well, just on that note, I was thinking the other day about times when I felt better, and actually a lot of the times it's been when I have been in direct service to other people. So there was a while back where my friend Lily and I would join this group called Food Not Bombs in Berlin, and we would deliver food to people that were experiencing homelessness. And I've been thinking more and more, you need to get back to doing stuff like that as a form of self-care. You know, it doesn't have to be about you.
Yeah, that's that mutual aid thing again. It's like I got a vibe or an energy or got to feel a certain kind of way that has eluded me for a long time by giving a fuck about other people and working towards a goal or an aim that wasn't just centered around me and my own little world, and the amount of fulfillment that I can gain from that, because that is the way we are made. That is the way that this is all supposed to work, I think, is something that I'm absolutely trying to look at in terms of my own self-care practices. You know, I'm someone who absolutely, Nine of Swords, likes to shut myself away and deal with it on my own and by myself until I'm ready to be the kind of person I feel could be or should be accepted into social spaces. Whereas I think we absolutely have to normalize, I am a fucking mess right now, but I need to be around other people. That, you know, when we talk about embracing vulnerability, that whole idea of I'm going to be vulnerable in this moment and come as I am, I think is going to be so significant for so many people. Should we have a look at how to grow in understanding and effectiveness in the midst of all of this? I have the Five of Pentacles.
Oh, I always get this one.
So, yeah, again, another kind of gloomy card, which sitting next to the Nine of Swords is not great. The Five of Pentacles is where we feel like we don't have the energy and the resources that we need. We feel up against it. We can feel a bit ostracized or othered or shut out of familiar or comfortable kind of places or spaces. But for me, the growth and understanding in the Five of Pentacles is actually in us acknowledging the fact that this is tough.
Yeah.
And starting to think about, well, what is within our... This is the conversation we've just had. What is within our reach? What is available or accessible to us right now? How do you feel about this Five of Pentacles showing up as a growth and understanding card?
It's funny, I can see it straight away, because it's like, yeah, okay, these figures are outside in the cold. I am inside in the warm, but tied to my sewing machine constantly by myself. Like, do you know what I mean?
Nine of Swords, the Five of Pentacles. Okay. But also growth and understanding. You've been on one hell of a journey. You're going to take 9 years sober on the in May. May the 4th, right? May the 4th be with you?
May the 4th. Yeah.
May the 4th. But that idea of you don't have to maybe run yourself ragged or run on fumes or push yourself to the point where you are not or are unable to take care of yourself as growth and understanding in the midst of where you're at, if I may.
Yeah, no, completely.
Yeah? Good. Love it. Gorgeous. Well done. Oh, if our podcast was a card pull. Okay, what to watch out for? Justice. Justice from the major arcana, and for me that means continuing to move with that integrity that you have, continuing to move with that awareness, continuing to be aligned with what you know is right and what you know is wrong, speaking truth to power, right? But understanding that balance here is important. Nine of Swords, yes, we're smart and we're capable and we can see and we can know the sword symbolism. We can make choices and decisions with confidence and with clarity, but only and especially as and where we are bringing balance by remaining tuned in intuitively, trusting where we are in that kind of knowing, which is something we can struggle a little bit with in the energy of the Nine of Swords. But for me, what to watch out for is just making sure that we are the one calling the shots. We're the one making the most of the confidence, the autonomy. Sometimes here as well, we need to wait until we have all the information, all the evidence that we need before we go trying to cross the T's, dot the I's, do the damn thing. And there's a lot of power in the energy of justice of being able to sit back, watch, observe, learn, get the timing just right. Is that helpful as a what to watch out
Yeah.
for right now?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm definitely charging on forward at the moment. So definitely good to be checking what's going on.
I'm going to say it, my least favourite word when reading cards at the moment, but here it is. It's balance, babes. It's balance, our Libra card, right?
Yeah, not something that really comes naturally to me as a big...
No, Nine of Swords, Five of Pentacles.
With all the fire energy in my chart, it doesn't...
So we've got a little bit of getting stressed out and being able to see that in the what to reflect on. We've got a little bit of growth and understanding in the fact that we're fucking knackered, right? We haven't got a whole heap to give right now, so we're going to have to be really clear about the investment of energy, effort, resources, and justice is going to absolutely be pivotal and helpful in the midst of that. Good. Right, outcome. Let's have a look.
Oh, God.
I love having that effect on people. Oh,
Oh, God.
oh babes. Babes. Okay, well, this is the Eight of Swords, everyone, in case you're wondering.
this was going to be a heavy reading.
Another gorgeous card, the Eight of Swords, where we see a figure bound, blindfolded, utterly miserable. What a sad sack. And they're surrounded by swords. The Five of Swords, conflict, coming to blows, having to establish and hold boundaries. The Three of Swords, unmet expectation, disappointment, heartache, betrayal. The water at the feet is everything. The water at the feet of this figure in this Rider-Waite-Smith illustration is a reminder of the importance of coming home, right? Nine of Swords and Eight of Swords just telling us that we are just ahead right now, floating around in the think more, try harder of it all, but reconnecting with kind of the truth of who we are, what's moving and stirring, our dreams, our desires. Super significant to see the Eight of Swords in the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't obviously want to doom and gloom too much here. But because it's always worth remembering, of course, outcome, future cards, it's much more kind of where we could be headed based on where we're at now. But I do kind of feel that obviously if where we're at now is reflecting in the energy of the Nine of Swords, growth and understanding is found in the energy of the Five. The Eight is here to kind of let us know you might need to think about doing something actually quite drastic. Justice is the what to watch out for in terms of feeling like you are really in the driving seat and being able to take control and kind of maintain that balance. Do you feel like you're calling the shots as much as you need to right now? Or do you think you're calling the shots too much and being too tough on yourself?
I think that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's who I am. It's what I do.
It is, and I can't help it.
I know, babes. I know. Well, look, let's give him a shuffle. Because I'm like, great, thanks. I decided to pull cards for my friend on our podcast, and we got the 8, 9 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles with a bit of justice, which, let's face it.
I'm not at all surprised. That's where I'm at right now.
Right, exactly.
You know,
I was going to say, it's where we're all at.
It's really fucking hard. It's really hard. I'm tired. I'm angry. And I'm overwhelmed. So it's like there's everything that's going on out there. And I've also just taken on too much in the business. So I am just overwhelmed, stressed, and upset.
Yeah, and so when I pull cards and I get a duh, obviously, I like to keep them coming in terms of helping just to kind of clarify, well, what are we going to do with that? What does it all mean? Thanks so much. So let's pull a focus card. We're just going to pull kind of, okay, great. So where is it best for me to focus my time, my energy, my effort, my attention? What is it about this card that we might need to know or that could be helpful to us right now? Yeah, balance, baby. It's the Two of Cups.
Oh, wow.
And the Two of Cups is, yes, a card that talks to us about what we share with who and why. Whether or not we need to practice that vulnerability. We're kind of coming into meaningful relationship with people, which is helping us to grow in our understanding of ourselves. But in the Two of Cups in the Minor Arcana, we see a masculine figure and a feminine figure. And so we're reminded of the fact we all contain masculine and feminine energy. We have that goal-oriented outward kind of part of who we are, the sword in Justice, but we also have that more receptive, kind of emotionally led, kind of under the surface subconscious part of who we are, the scales, right? So the idea here of being able to look at our relationship with ourself, look at the relationship between these different parts of who we are, thinking about the moments of pause, whatever self-care we might need in order to kind of encourage this, because twos are great, especially with that 8 and that 9. They give us opening, they give us opportunity. There's an invitation for us to kind of step forward and maybe do things a little bit differently here. But is that helpful as a focus card?
Yeah, completely. I mean, balance as a focus card, I mean, makes the most sense right now. Like,
Yeah.
I think the energy that was brought into that reading was very much me crying in the cab on the way here, watching interviews with sexual abuse survivors. You know, like, I'm really not surprised that was the reading that we got. But this as a focus card is obviously really helpful.
Yeah. Having to have the lion symbolism, given that big Leo energy. Hey ho, let's go. Strength, right? The idea of we have to get a real handle on our drives, desires, fears. We don't want that driving us right now. We want this really kind of balanced, integrated kind of self-awareness and what's moving and stirring in these cups, this heart center, to be kind of front and center right now. But Justice in the Two of Cups is cute. It's a real take your power back, just be an emo, right? Like.
I think I'm also coming up to a place where I have more space for this energy, because obviously up until now I've been working months on end without days off, but I am seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now. I am getting to the point where the bulk of these shop orders are done, and yes, the next month is going to be busy, but I will be able to have weekends again, which means that there will be more space for me to look after myself a little bit more, spend time with people I love, and just reconnect in that way a bit more. So yeah, it came at a really good time, I think.
Good. Well, no regrets then, pulling cards on the podcast and ending up in what I like to call the nitty-gritty tarot. The very real energy for so many of us right now. Tommy and I both sending you a big hug if you're a hugger, right? Because the energy of the Nine of Swords, the Eight of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, the how hard it is to be human, the how hard it is to make it make sense, I think is just so real for so many of us right now. So we hope that our over-caffeinated, very stressed out shit talking about self-care has been able to keep you company today. Maybe it's kind of stirred some of your own thoughts about where you're at in that. If there's anything you want to share with us, we'd love to hear it. Leave us a comment on the Patreon, on the YouTube. We do check it all. We do read everything. And if there's any topics that you would particularly like us to discuss or take a run at, or that you feel could be helpful right now, all you've got to do is let us know. Are you just going to be working like mad the rest of today, babe?
Yeah, but Wednesday I'm going to Vibali. So
Yeah.
I've just got to get through today and tomorrow of like just whacking out a bunch of stuff. And then that means Wednesday I got my me day with my book at Vibali.
And I'm looking at your wall there, and you've got a sort of tomahawk and a dagger and a pair of very sharp scissors. So at the point that we're beginning to hunt them in packs, I'll be popping over to Berlin, right?
Oh, I've got a massive scythe in the front as well.
Oh, I love that, a scythe. You can make me a cloak.
There's a morning star over there as well. I've got all sorts of medieval weapons.
Right, team, we're meeting at Tommy's Atelier. We've got a scythe, a morning star, a dagger, a very sharp pair of scissors, what looks like a very small and handy axe. And what's even better is as we leave, we'll all be looking fucking fabulous. It's their turn to live in fear, ladies. I will just say that. All right then, darling. Well, I guess that wraps us up for today. Again, a huge thank you to everyone giving us their support on the Patreon. I'm going to give a special shout out to Lisa, another new subscriber to the Tommy and Hannah pod.
Lisa.
So thank you so much, Lisa, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.